Well, hey everybody, Martika here with Martika J Makes, and welcome to my channel. So today we are going to talk about how to read patterns, and this was a requested video, and because of the fact that I noticed that a lot of people who are beginners in sewing or who may be thinking about sewing watch my channel, I felt that this was a great video to do because pattern reading can be very tricky sometimes, even for me, you guys. So with that warning, I am not the expert on pattern reading, okay? Let's just go ahead and be honest, but I am more than willing to share with you all how I read patterns. Now, the foundation of pattern reading is usually the same with all of us, okay? There is a foundation to it, and it is the same. But when it comes to actually fitting that garment to your body type or size, then you may have to tweak things a little bit differently in order to know that it's gonna fit you or come pretty close to fitting you, where you can make just simple adjustments at the end of your project. So before we get started, if you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. And if you have subscribed, thank you. And if you haven't, just stay to the end of the video. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe. But everyone, definitely get down there and give this video a thumbs up. So let's go ahead and get started. So you guys, we are going to start with Simplicity 9334, and I really like this top here, and that's the reason that I bought this pattern, because I really just like the whole look of it. I love the look of a relaxed top like this that's a little dressy but also casual at the same time, paired up with some jeans. We have some gathered sleeves here at the bottom, which I absolutely love. This is like a carefree pattern, no darts in it, you know, around the bust area, and that is the reason why this pattern caught my eye. So when you are reading patterns, let me tell you, if you are just starting out, every pattern has this section here at the lip of the envelope where it folds in, where you have all of these average measurements. Okay, these are your average size measurements. So a lot of people, what you'll do, go in and take your measurements, and then you'll go through here and you'll try to figure out what your measurement is, and you will line it up with that size, whatever the case. You guys, I'm gonna tell you, since I've learned how to really read patterns a little better, I don't even look at this anymore, because there is in every pattern something called ease, okay? And that's where your seam allowance comes in. That's where the looseness of the pattern comes in, how much ease you're going to have in that pattern when that garment is finished. And that's what you want to make sure is fitting. So what we go by is the finished garment measurements. You want to know what this is going to measure out when you finish it, because I'm gonna tell you, every time I have gone by this, it's either too big or too small, and I am upset at that point because I've cut out the wrong size and I have to go get another pattern to make what I want to make and get more fabric if I didn't use any type of muslin or scrap fabric for it. So you always want to go to your finished garment measurements. Now, I'm going to tell you, the finished garment measurements are not always going to be on the back with some of your pattern companies. I hope that changes here in the near future, because if it's not on the back of the envelope, then what happens is you have to look at the tissue paper, the actual pattern itself, and see what the finished garment measurement is on that tissue paper. And I'll show you that later on in this video, what I'm talking about. So on this one, they actually do have the main finished garment measurement, which is the bust. Okay, so before we go there, you have your sizes here. So this is basically all the sizes where you know what you are going to cut, okay? And then you have your different views here. So you know you have all of your line drawings here, your view A, B, and C. So you have all of your different views here with the amount of fabric that you're going to need for whatever view you're doing. And then, of course, you have your finished garment measurement. So like I said, I like view A. Okay, so that's what we're going to go by. We're going to look at view A. The bust size is The finished bust measurement is going to be the same for all of the views. So it doesn't matter. If it was going to be a little different, it would have the bust size and it would tell you which view that finished garment bust measurement is for. So this is an easy one here. So the bust size, I am a 42 in the bust. Now I'm really like a 41 and 3/4. However, we just round that up to 42. All right. And depending on the fabric, if it's like a knit fabric, I will usually bump up a size if it's not a big difference, or I might grade my pattern out a little bit if I want a little bit more room in it. But this right here, it's already a relaxed fit. It has no darts. I don't think. No, this does have darts. Well, I tell you, this does have darts. Okay. However, once the darts are in, you still have a really relaxed finish. But I have a couple of options here. Now, I am a 42. Here's a finished bust measurement at 42, which means that I would go up here to see what size I need to cut out. And I would need to cut out a size 14 if I wanted to measure just right. Okay. And because you guys, this is not a knit material, so it's not a snapback material, something that's going to hug me. This is made with either crepe or linen or rayon. It has a lot of your silky type fabrics here, your soft cottons. It's not, it doesn't have any stretch to it. So therefore, I will just stick with the measurement of a 42. Now, if this was a pattern that had like a knit or something stretchy, something that might be a little bit more snug fitting, I would bump that up to a size 16 to where my finished bust measurement here would be a 44 and it would give me the room that I need. Now, that's what I go by personally. But since this material is not going to snap back on me, I'm going to go with the 42 bust measurement. Now what I need to do is see how much fabric I need for the view A top that I'm doing. This is view A right here. I am cutting out a 14. So therefore I need 2 3/4 worth of fabric. All right. When it's like that, I just get 3 yards. Always leave room for mistakes. Okay. Get your extra 1/4 of a yard, get your extra 1/2 of a yard, whatever. But always leave room for any mistakes that you may make. And that, you guys, is how I would read this pattern here. Now, the next pattern is pants. And you have, you saw me talk about this particular pattern in my Vogue top that I did with the faded denim, the bleached denim. If you remember that, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch that video. But this pattern I have actually made 3 times and I absolutely love this pattern. So this is Simplicity 8134. And we are talking about these pants in view A right here. Now, when it comes to pants, it's a little bit different. You have a few different measurements to look at. You want to look at the hip area and you want to look at the crotch fitting. So if you have not made pants before, you may want to definitely probably follow some videos that's clearly talking about how to get the correct measurements out of pants if you like them fitting perfectly, you know, which is what we all love to do because it's like hit or miss when it comes to these patterns. So once again, you have all of your views here. But what you are looking for, mainly what I'm looking for, is the hip measurement. Now, I am a bona fide 41 in the hip. I've measured my hips several times. And you do want to measure more than one time. You know, I almost measure with almost every pattern sometimes. But, you know, it just depends because we gain weight, we lose weight. We kind of fluctuate the older we get. So in this pattern, like I said, I am a 41 in the hips. Now, looking at this, I am going to need this pattern to really fit pretty good in the hips. I don't want it to be too baggy, okay, so to speak. Now, therefore, I am going to go and I'm going to find 41 in the hip. Now, instead of finding 41, I'm seeing that there is a 41 and a half. You know what? That is perfect. because it's going to give me a little bit of wiggle room there. And if you are not sure on pants, just like any other pattern, make it out of muslin or an old bed sheet or some type of scrap fabric you don't care about. Do that first, because if you cut out this pattern and it's wrong and you've cut into your fabric, you're going to be very, very upset. I promise you. So with this pattern, I cut out the 41.5. Now, could I bump it up to the 43.5? Yeah, I could, but it's going to be a lot bigger than what I want it to be. And I'm not going to have that fit around the hip area. Okay. And I'm not going to get, that basically that fluctuation to the wide leg look that I want. All right. So I'm going to cut out the 41.5. That is telling me that I'm going to cut out a size 14 in that. Okay. And I'm going to tell y'all now, in all patterns, no, I'm not a size 14. Okay. And in all patterns, no, you are not going to be the size that you go to the department store to buy. Hardly ever. I can count on one hand how many times I've actually cut out a size 10, and that is the size that I wear if I'm just going shopping. But I am a 14 in these pants. Now, the next thing I need to do, I'm looking at view A. I need to go down to view A and see how much fabric I need. So therefore, I'm a 14 looking at view A. I need 2 1/8 yard of this fabric in order to make those pants. And that is how I do it. And then, of course, with the notions, only thing that I need for this is elastic. Okay. It doesn't give me elastic in the notions there, but you have to pay really close attention because it gives it to you right there for whatever the reason. I don't know why that's not under notions, but if you notice that your pattern has elastic and you don't see it under notions, go look for it. It's there and it'll tell you how much it needs. So basically, when it comes to pattern reading, you have to read the pattern. Okay. Literally, you have to really read through there. And let me tell you guys, it's going to be through trial and error. Okay. I can't tell you how many garments I used to make really in the beginning that I had to either give away or donate or simply trash, and it's sad to say, but I did, because it was just wrong all the way around and there was nothing I could do with it. Now, the last example I'm going to give you is what to do when the finished garment measurements are not on the back of the pattern. Okay. This is the Vogue shirt that I did when I matched those pants up to it. And this one is Vogue 9299. I made view B right here. But in the store, when I turned it over to look for the finished garment measurements, you guys, all I got was the width and the length. Okay, that's all I got. That is not helpful when you're making a shirt or a shirt dress or even pants. It's not a skirt, anything. It's not helpful at all. So where are the finished measurements, you might ask? You guys, they're on the actual pattern. Okay. Now, sometimes I could sneak open a pattern in the store, especially when it's a top, because I know it's going to be either on the front or the back bodice piece, those finished measurements. But this was a little bit more difficult. So what I had to do was go ahead and get this pattern, bring it home, bust that baby open, and find those pattern measurements on the actual pattern piece. And I will tell you that this particular one, I did luck out and get the right size, but I can't tell you how many times I've had to go back to the store and exchange the pattern because I had the wrong size. Not my fault, because the finished measurements was not printed on the actual back of the envelope. And it's very frustrating, but it's just something that we have to deal with. So on this particular pattern, the actual measurements was on the front piece of the pattern. This was the front bodice. Okay, this is the front of the whole shirt dress. There it is right there. So like I said, when it comes to a shirt, it's going to be on the front or on the back. Now, when it comes to, I will tell you, when it comes to button down, I usually end up sizing up because of the fact that I have to pull it to button it. I can have some gapping, okay, in there. And I talk about that in the video where I actually show what I made when I made this pattern. But this is your arm, your whole arm piece. That's the underarm here. And your bust measurements are usually going to be right there. So that's telling you where the bust is going to hit on that pattern. This little circle here with the cross in there. These are your finished bust measurements on this pattern, okay? So I actually ended up cutting out a 6. No, did I cut out a 16? No, I actually went ahead, you guys, and I took a chance and it worked. I cut out the 14. It gave me a 42.5 bust because of the fact that this was a little loose fitting. It does not have any darts. I knew that there was going to be a lot of ease in this pattern, so I didn't want it to be too baggy on me. So I did go ahead and do the 14 where the finished measurement was 42.5. But you guys, some of your patterns, you're going to look up. And you're also going to get a waistline measurement, a finished garment measurement. Some of your patterns. I don't know why they don't do this for all patterns, because us women, I think our biggest fight is our waist a lot of times. And having these finished measurements in the waist is a blessing when we do get them, because we don't get them very often. But as you can see, the finished waist measurement is a 48.5. Now that's going to be big because this is a top where you're going to have a belt to pull it together. Okay, so it's going to be a very loose fitting top. And then because it's like a shirt dress, you're going to get your hip measurement also, your finished hip measurement in this. And because of the fact that it does hang over the hip. So the 14 the finished piece of this was going to give a 51.5 inch hip. Now, like I told you, I'm a 41 in the hip, but the reason why it's so big is because of the fact that, like I said, it's a loose fitting top. It's gonna drape down like a dress. So it's going to be looser. This is not a fitted garment. And that is the reason why the finished measurements in your waist and in your hips are going to be so big. So those are the examples that I wanted to help you with, you guys. And I hope that this has been helpful. Please let me know in the comment section. If it has been. Like I said, I am not the expert on pattern reading. Sometimes I go in the store and I struggle too, you guys. But it's by trial and error. As I said before, if you get home, you open it up, you didn't have the finished garment measurements on the back, take it back, exchange it. Just make sure you fold up that pattern piece as neatly as you possibly can, tuck it back in there and go back and exchange it. But for all in all, if you're ever not sure, just make a muslin to it before you actually cut into the fabric itself. If you are not sure on the size, even on the pattern, trace it out. Get some tracing paper and trace that pattern out onto another some tracing paper instead, and cut it out on that tracing paper, and then put your muslin together and see if it has the fit that you like. And you will. It takes more time, but you will save a lot of headache, okay? Having to go back and get another pattern and having to go find more fabric because now you've wasted the fabric that you really wanted to use. And it just saves you a lot of time if you're not sure. So like I said before, I hope this video has been helpful. Please definitely give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for joining, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.